Ladies and gentlemen, many of us in the UK are facing many difficulties as a result of the economic crisis. Across large parts of Europe, we can say that the economic crisis is putting many people through hard times. However, most of us do not experience another type of difficulty which could be much more serious. This is the life of a soldier. Now, in the British Army, the people who fight for our country are British citizens. They're people like us who have the job of fighting for the country on a daily basis. Many of us may have opposed military operations in both Afghanistan and Iraq. However, most Brits tend to show support for our soldiers and the work they carry out, no matter what they may believe with regards to the political situation of going to war. Most British citizens want to get behind our boys, as they say, while they're out in Afghanistan, whether or not they support government decisions. But what about when conflict is over and the troops come home? What is life like for a soldier who was once part of a project as daring and as exciting as war in a foreign country? Most former soldiers are able to settle back into civilian life successfully. Many have a wife and a family at home waiting for them. However, there are many ex-servicemen who find it difficult to make the transition from war to peace. We will start with the example of Mark. He was sent to Northern Ireland when he was just 17, and 1 year later he witnessed the Omagh terrorist bombing, which killed 29 people. He was then deployed to Bosnia, but this was where his problems with mental health began. He was sent home to the UK, where he started a life of drinking and violence. He often slept on the beach and rejected the company of others. So for Mark, life before conflict and afterwards was not the same. However, 94% of former soldiers managed to settle back into their lives. They set up new lives successfully when they return home after conflict. But what about the remaining 6%? This group of veterans have difficulties adapting to their former lives and find it hard to reintegrate into society. The reasons for these problems are many and varied. Like Mark, often an event the soldier witnesses whilst on duty can deeply affect him. This can lead to all sorts of hardships, such as difficulties with mental health. Others get very comfortable living within the structured life of the army, where most needs are provided for. When they return home and have to organize their own lives, things suddenly become more complicated. Some young men join the army in order to escape other problems they were suffering in their lives, and they later discover that being a soldier is no quick fix. Other ex-servicemen come home looking for jobs and simply find that the current economic crisis is too much of a burden. There are many threats and temptations for a veteran soldier once their time fighting has come to an end. Alcohol is a growing problem, and addiction to drink can be a common difficulty. Many former fighters decide to put an end to their own lives. Veterans under the age of 24 are 2 or 3 times more likely to commit suicide than civilians of the same age. The difficulties that ex-servicemen face do not just have direct consequences on themselves, however, since former soldiers are far more likely to commit violence and sexual abuse than those who have not fought in the army. Finding a suitable place to live and staying there can also be complicated. This is evident from the fact that it is estimated that more than a fifth of homeless people in the UK are military veterans. Here in Great Britain, we are all having to make changes in our lives because of the economic difficulties which are affecting all of us. However, we should spare a thought for those who have been fighting for us overseas and who often return home to an even more difficult life. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look after our veteran soldiers. Thank you.